Good afternoon. My name is Ryan Peluso, and this is my first hack presentation. I will be covering a basic ping sweep in operating systems check, enumeration, nmap commands, as well as a flaw hypothesis methodology and vulnerability map of the system. By using the ifconfig command is used to configure and display network interface parameters. The nmap-o command is used to perform a scan on the targeted operating system, which is on the right. The OS check involve analyzing network responses, packet responses, and other characteristics to make an educated guess about the operating system in use. This sends multiple probes to the target host and examines the responses received. This is valuable information that is needed for security assessments and network reconnaissance to have a better understanding of the target's infrastructure. This screenshot shows the enumeration or footprinting of KOptics-1 as it allows for a deeper understanding of the system's weaknesses. This is useful as it helps learn about penetration techniques and understand how the potential vulnerabilities can be exploited. Enumeration is a broader process of gathering various types of information about a target system or network, while OS checks specifically focus on identifying the underlying operating system. Both techniques serve as important initial steps in vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, or security auditing processes. This option in Nmap is used to specify a UDP port scan. When you use -PU followed by the desired ports or port range, Nmap will scan for those specific UDP ports on the target system. Port scans are used to determine open ports on a target system or network. The Nmap-SX scan is a stealthy scan used against certain firewalls and is used to check how a computer or network system responds to unusual messages to determine if a port is closed. It's called an Xmas scan because it uses a combination of flags that resemble blinking Christmas lights. The traceroute is a network diagnostic tool that traces the route taken by packets from the source to the destination host. It provides valuable information about the network hops for intermediate devices along the path, including their IP addresses and response times. Traceroute works by sending packets with increasing time-to-live values, causing them to expire and elicit ICMP time-exceeded messages from each network hop. The flaw hypothesis methodology is an approach used in software security testing to identify vulnerabilities or flaws in a system. It involves formulating hypotheses about potential weaknesses based on an understanding of the system's design, implementation, and threat landscape. These hypotheses are then tested through various techniques to validate or invalidate them. OpenSSH, or Protocol 1.99, contains a potential vulnerability related to protocol negotiation bypass, potentially allowing for the exploitation of weaker SSH protocol versions. The flaw hypothesis suggests that OpenSSH 2.9p2, while supporting both SSH protocol versions 1 and 2, may have a vulnerability that enables an attacker to bypass the intended negotiation process and force the use of the less secure SSH protocol version 1. By forcing the use of SSH protocol version 1, the attacker may attempt to exploit weaknesses associated with the protocol and gain unauthorized access or perform other malicious activities on the targeted system. To mitigate the potential vulnerability, it is recommended to upgrade to a newer version of OpenSSH that addresses any known security issues and ensures the use of SSH protocol version 2. Additionally, administrators should disable SSH protocol version 1 support in the server configuration to prevent any potential downgrade attacks. Port 139 may be a potential vulnerability related to NetBIOS over TCP/IP service that can allow for potential unauthorized access and data exposure. The flaw hypothesis suggests that port 139, which is commonly associated with the NetBIOS over TCP/IP service, may have vulnerabilities that could be exploited by attackers. These vulnerabilities might allow unauthorized users to gain access to sensitive data, execute remote code, or perform other malicious activities on systems that have port 139 open. This could lead to unauthorized data exposure, modification to files, or disruption to the availability and integrity of shared resources. To mitigate possible risk, restrict access to port 139 or to trusted networks or IP addresses that require access to NetBIOS services. Update the system with regular patches and routinely monitor the network. This is a vulnerability map of system for both port 22 and port 139. With port 22, some associated vulnerabilities are brute force attacks, SSH protocol vulnerabilities, and misconfigured access controls. For port 139, the associated vulnerabilities are SMB exploits, data exposure, and denial of service attacks. Today I covered the basic ping sweep and OS check, enumeration, nmap commands, flaw hypothesis methodology, and vulnerability of the map system. Here is a list of references that I used for the presentation.